Well, President Trump is on day 2 of his 4-state West Coast swing. He's got campaign rallies planned in Phoenix tonight, Colorado on Thursday, and Las Vegas on Friday. The events will serve as counterprogramming to the Democrats who will debate in Nevada tonight ahead of Saturday's caucus. Well, today, the president's reelection campaign took out a full-page ad in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. It says that Democrats will kill Nevada jobs and accuses them of big government socialism. It also highlights President Trump's record on the economy. Joining me now from Las Vegas, Marc Lotter. He's the Director of Strategic Communications for the Trump 2020 campaign. Marc, thanks so much for joining us. Where do you feel that the president...
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Where do you feel the president has the biggest advantage over Democrats when it comes to moderate and undecided voters on the West Coast?
Well, I think it's in the economy. As things are, we often see that voters vote with their pocketbooks. And so we have this strong economy. We see such growth in low unemployment, rising wages. And even when you look beyond in the lower level data, you see folks, Black Americans, Latino and Hispanic Americans who are thriving, succeeding. And I think that's one of the reasons why we see the president's approval ratings now at the highest point of his presidency.
I want to ask you about a reporting from Politico. It says that the Trump campaign is bringing on an alumni of the controversial data firm Cambridge Analytica to oversee its data operations. I want to ask you, is this true? And what role do you see this person playing?
Well, I'm not aware of what's going on with the data operation, and I don't have anything to comment on that report.
If this were true, do you worry about the optics that this would bring having a former Cambridge Analytica analyst on the Trump team?
I'm not going to get into speculation about who might be joining the team. I can tell you right now, as of today, we have one of the strongest data operations of any presidential campaign in history. We show that. We're going to be showing it again here this week when we're traveling tonight to Phoenix, when we're in Colorado, when we're in Nevada. And it's a real advantage for Republicans right now with what we have in the data team.
What do you think is the biggest advantage on the data team right now that's making the biggest difference for the Trump campaign?
Well, it's the focus that the Republican Party has been putting into it for so many years. We saw that on display during 2016. But what I would also tell you is that when the president goes and does a rally, you can see our campaign manager, Brad Parscale, tweet about it, usually within a day or so after those rallies, the sheer amount of data that we're able to capture from folks who are coming out showing their support for this president. If you're willing to go stand in line for days sometimes in inclement weather, to stand in line to wait to see the president speak, there's a pretty good chance that if we ask you to go to the polls and vote for him in November, you're likely to do it.
I want to ask you about tonight. Michael Bloomberg will make his debut on the debate stage. President Trump's been criticizing the former New York City mayor, accusing him of trying to buy the nomination. What's the president most worried about when it comes to Bloomberg potentially getting a nomination?
Well, we're not worried about any of the specific candidates. Whichever one of them comes out of this mess of a primary, they'll have to get in the ring with the president. But Michael Bloomberg does have some serious issues he has to overcome. His recently exposed racist comments, sexist comments, disparaging comments about farmers and manufacturers, just to name a few. And it doesn't really matter how many billions of dollars Mike Bloomberg plans to set on fire. It's not going to overcome this history of stop and frisk and his support for some very damaging policies.
You mentioned money. Mr. Bloomberg has said regardless of who gets the Democratic nomination, he's going to spend a ton of money on this campaign to unseat the president. What do you make about the amount of money that's being spent on both sides this election cycle?
Well, I think we proved in 2016 that money isn't everything. Hillary Clinton outspent the Trump campaign, and yet we were still successful. I think the key is having the message, and that's where President Trump's leadership is really putting us in a strong position because of the results on the economy, because of the actions he's taken to defend our country against terrorists. Those are very strong arguments why we need to have 4 more years of Donald Trump. And it really doesn't matter how much money the Democrats have. I mean, their platform right now is trillions of dollars in tax increases, taking people's private health care insurance away from them, taking union members' health insurance away from them, and that's not necessarily going to be a winning message for anyone.
Marc, I want to ask you, on Monday, former President Barack Obama tweeted, marking the 11th anniversary of the Recovery Act. Then President Trump accused him of trying to take credit for the economic boom. How is President Obama's legacy playing into your campaign strategy when it comes to the economy?
Well, I think the legacy is what the American people see. We've seen the recent polls out there showing that an overwhelming majority of Americans feel they are better off now than they were 3 years ago. We've seen the historic low unemployment, the increase in wages that we did not see in the previous 16 years under President Obama and President Bush. Those are very strong things. I think the American people are feeling it in their pocketbooks. They definitely like it when they look at their 401ks and their child savings, college savings accounts that are tied to the stock market. So there's a lot of positive things going on right now. And I do find it ironic that it wasn't only 3 years ago when Barack Obama was saying it would take a magic wand to bring manufacturing jobs back. And now here we are 3 years later with manufacturing coming back, and he's trying to take credit for it.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you, Mark, you mentioned how important momentum is and how people have been camping out to see the president at these rallies. Bernie Sanders is a Democratic candidate who's also gotten a great deal of momentum. How do you counter on the Democratic side someone like a Bernie Sanders who might potentially have people who haven't cared maybe about politics but are coming out and able to support him? Is that something you're concerned about?
It's not something we're concerned about. It's going to be something that Democrats have to be concerned about if he doesn't get the nomination. As we have seen, I mean, as you noted earlier, Mike Bloomberg is going to be on the debate stage tonight because the Democrat Party changed the rules, and he's not even on the ballot here in Nevada. If what we see continuing happens, where Bernie Sanders is denied the nomination, and right now he is the leader, that's something that the Democrats are going to have to confront, as his supporters will feel once again that this nomination has been taken away from them.
You mentioned Nevada. We know the president narrowly lost Nevada to Hillary Clinton in 2016. What are you doing to try and win Nevada this time around? What did you learn from 2016?
Well, I think one of the things is we're coming back, and we're coming back in strength. I was out here a few months ago giving some speeches. The state chairman in Nevada said he has never in his career seen so many resources coming in from the presidential campaign, from the Republican National Committee so early. And it's really helping him and his people on the ground develop that strong ground game that we need. Obviously, the president's going to be here over the course of this week. We've got the vice president coming in, and we're going to be coming back over and over again because what we think is because of that strong economy. And when the economy is strong, people come to Nevada. So I think there's a very strong case for us to make about why we want to keep that leadership in the White House with President Trump.
Marc Lotter, grateful you can join us, Mark, from Nevada. Thank you very much.
Thank you.